Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from text chapter 3. It's a new chapter, and we're doing 2 verses today, 1 and 2. So we'll read through 1, and I'll just read over the second verse. So we'll start with text number 1. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha. Gyayasi chet karmanaste. Matha buddhir janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava. Arjuna Uvacha. Kyasyasi chet karmaniste. Matha buddhir janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyo yasyasi keshava. Arjuna Uvacha. Gyasyasyasi chet karmanaste. Matha buddhir janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyosyasi keshava. Arjuna Uvacha. Gyayasi chet karmanaste. Matha buddhir janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava. Arjuna Uvacha. Gyayasi chet karmanaste. Buddhir janardana. Kim karmani ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava. Somebody else? Arjuna Uvacha. Gyayasi chet karmanaste. Janardana. Ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava.
Gyayasi chet karmanaste. Matha buddhir janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Yasyasi karmanaste.
Matha buddhir
janardana.
Tat kim karmani ghore mam. Niyogyasya keshava. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said. Yasyasi. Better. Chet. If. Karmanaha. Than fruit of action. Ter. By you. Matar. Is considered. Buddhi. Intelligence. Janardana. O Krishna. Tat. Therefore. Kim. Why. Karmani, in action. Ghore, ghastly. Mam, me. Niyoyasi, you are engaging. Keshava, O Krishna. Translation, purports by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruit of work. So please repeat. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruit of work. What strikes you immediately in the first sentence there? There's two names of Krishna used. And yes, isn't that very interesting? It's Arjuna really emphasizing. It's Krishna's name of Janardhan and Keshava. Very interesting. One after the other. Right, let's see what Prabhupada has to say in the purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter. Where has he described this? Which part?
From 2 to 12.
Yes, from 11 till 30. Yes, that whole section, Krishna spoke about the soul. Right. So that's what Prabhupada is commenting on there. In that part there now, what else he has to say? With a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. So we see Krishna's desire here to relieve Arjuna's grief. But as we will read in today's verse, Arjuna is more perplexed than ever. He's really confused. Okay, let's see why. And the path of realization has been recommended. Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. And one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place. Without being trained. Very important. Without being trained. Secluded place where one may acquire only what? Cheap adoration from the innocent public. Arjuna thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. Right? Something we can really relate to. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to the best course of action, and in answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga, or work in Krishna consciousness, in the 3rd chapter. So this is what we're going to be discussing here today. We'll just read over the next verse also, because we were asked to do so. Actually, it's a combination. It's the first 2 verses of this chapter is Arjuna's question. So we will read the second one. I'll just read through the translation quickly. All right? So 2nd verse, translation. My intelligence is bewildered. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Pujari now has double.
Double mercy. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Equivocal means, anybody knows the meaning of this word? Yeah? Yeah, equivocal like technically means same, equal, then you get the derivative equivocal from it. But in the context of here, Arjuna is saying you're speaking two things here that are the same. So this is where the crux of the problem is. It's not that Krishna is not understood by it. He's understood something from his perspective, but he's saying you're saying two of the same things here that are equal and I'm completely confused. So we're going to explore this point and how this is connected to this karma yoga. Therefore, please tell me decisively, another big strong word, decisive means clearly, straight down the line. Clearly, no ambiguity, just straight, clearly tell me which will be the most beneficial for me. So this is a very humble question because he's asking help. And we see he's already taken diksha, so to speak, initiation, or as we call it, or guidance from Krishna, Shishyamam Sadimam Tvam Praparnam, in the 7th verse of the 2nd chapter. So now he's saying, you are giving me spiritual guidance, tell me here now clearly what you want. Purport by Prabhupada. In the previous chapter, as a prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruit of desire, and the position of the neophyte. What is neophyte? The beginner, somebody who is just starting up. So Arjuna is a perfect place for us to be, right? You can't go wrong with being new or in that position, right? Because you can always learn. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. So Krishna has spoken, but it wasn't systematic. Now, because why? What was the title of the 2nd chapter? It's a summary. Yes, it's a summary. So Krishna spoke so many things. That's why Prabhupada is saying here, it wasn't systematic. So Krishna spoke so many things, and now he's going to start to define each one of those. And Arjuna chose this topic to start Krishna's dialogue on this point, right? So Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters, so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. So Arjuna is in the situation for our benefit. So us common people can benefit from this. Keep that point in mind because it will come up later again. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayaham Tadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavanamusta Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakadamusta Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyata Desatarine Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're really in a wonderful, exciting chapter, and to start it becomes very exciting to start a chapter because it's something new. Usually the chapters of the Gita flow from one to the other, and we'll see that in today's one also. And it's very exciting to see what's this dialogue, how is it going on, and what's Arjuna's dilemma, because usually we can relate to that very easily. But before we get into the situation, because in today's verses, the first two is questions by Arjuna. And what is the state of his mindset at this point? He's confused. So before we get into what is confusing him, we're going to do some inter-reference in the Gita to see how he's progressed to come to this point of being confused for the how many time? Third time. You're going to see this is the third time now he's going to declare that he's confused. Okay? So before we get to that, we'll just go over some background of where we are. So in the preface of the Gita, we've been Hare Ram Prabhu has been going through it extensively with all of us, right? And the 5 truths that make up the basis of the Gita. So anybody remember any one of them? The 5 truths? That yes?
5 truths being like what's not.
Yeah, there's 5 truths Prabhupada says is the 5 essential aspects of the whole Bhagavad Gita.
One is
Yes, that's karma, correct. That's what we're discussing today. And the other 4? Anybody? Yes? Ishwar, yes, the controller. Jiva, yes. 2 more? Prakriti and Kala, right, those are the 5. So out of that 5, we're discussing this one that Prabhuji said today, fruit of work or karma. But we'll see how technical this point karma gets, because it's not as clear as we understand it. Usually from our perspective, being conditioned, we have this kind of an understanding of karma, right? Can you see this guy? He's sitting here and he presses the dominoes forward. And what happens? It goes all the way around, but he doesn't realize it's going to come back on him, right? So it's titled a karma on the top also. So this is the traditional understanding of karma. What you're going to do, it's going to come back somewhere along the line. So it's a interesting idea, but what Krishna is going to declare and what Krishna is discussing with Arjuna here is slightly different. It is different actually. So we're going to discuss this point and see how is it different, how Arjuna is seeing it and what he's seeing as karma, what Krishna is propounding as karma, and then we'll consolidate the both together, right? So the 5 truths we discussed, one of the main aspects is karma. That's we're starting today. Now, it's a common term. Later on we'll play a little video clip. You'll see that even in the Western idea, karma is well known. The people, you even use it as a common vernacular there. People just use it as vocabulary there. It's not something that's unknown to the Western world. It's quite known. It's easily used also. People know you're going to get, karma means reaction. You're going to get some reaction on things. Now, let's take a slightly, just for a minute, we'll just take a slightly scientific aspect on it to see, can you see this word karma or the concept in a logical way? Now we know the fundamental basis of science is action and reaction, physics, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Everybody knows this. We studied this in school, right? So if that is so, every action has a reaction on a gross level, then everything starts from subtle. Then we can logically conclude that on a subtle platform there must also exist such a law that proclaims that every action should have a reaction. Is that a logical statement? It's a logical conclusion. If something on a gross level shows that every action has a reaction, then if subtle basis of everything, if the understanding of concepts start from subtle to gross, then on a subtle platform there must also be a concept of action and reaction. So that is technically called karma. So just by that analysis you can at least accept the hypothesis that such a concept could exist. That's just the generic understanding of it, because physics explains things on a gross platform, matter, on a macro level. But on a micro level, on a spiritual or metaphysical level, the same laws exist, each and every law. It exists on that platform also. So here we're discussing this law of gravity would exist on a physical level, same law on a subtle level, it becomes karma. It's not difficult to come to that conclusion. Right, so Arjuna, what is his situation? He's confused. As we said, it's the third time he's confused. So what Krishna is going to discuss with Arjuna here from verses 1 to verses 9 is this idea of karma yoga. We know yoga means to link with, and karma just in a generic sense means action. So it means acting in Krishna consciousness. Doing activity in yoga means to connect to the Supreme. So you're going to do activity which is going to connect you to Krishna. Now Arjuna's dilemma is that, Krishna, you want me to fight here. Now how is this fighting, killing, how is this killing supposed to be yoga? How is killing supposed to be yoga? Because you remember the title of the first chapter in Sanskrit, anybody knows the Sanskrit title of it? Vishada Yoga. Well done, Vishada Yoga. And Vishada means the same point, confusion or lamentation. It also means misery. But it's generally understood as confusion. So Arjuna, what is his confusion? His confusion is to understand whether karma yoga is better than jnana yoga. He has an understanding of jnana yoga, which is liberation, buddhi. Remember, Arjuna is coming from a Vedic culture. So he's familiar with these ideas, but he's not technically familiar with the concepts. He's heard it in his culture, but technically he's not familiar with it. So he's under the understanding that, Krishna, you want me to fight, means karma, I have to do action, then will I get liberation by this? Because I'm going to be killing people. So he's confused about that, whether karma or jnana is better. Jnana means liberation, renounce. You remember he proposed this to Krishna, better renounce everything and go to the forest. And Krishna tells him, this is not for you. Okay? So the chapter itself covers 43 verses. And from 1 to 9 deals with this idea of karma yoga. So if we analyze what Arjuna is trying to say here, if we take the Bhagavad Gita as a theological text, and the narrative of the Bhagavad Gita as a story, God is asking his devotee, Arjuna, to kill his family members. Now if you take that idea, does it sound spiritual at all? Doesn't sound spiritual. And people who read this or hear this, they say, how is this, it's supposed to be a spiritual text. The highest spiritual yoga is taught. This is a yoga text. Yoga Shastra. This is declared in the Upanishad as Yoga Shastra. And yet the story of this text, God is asking his devotee to kill his family people. But as we'll see, as Krishna is going to explain to Arjuna, what I want you to do, Arjuna, is to help me re-establish Dharma. Therefore, for you, karma yoga is higher. You see? Therefore, we see when Krishna spoke also, double the content of Bhagavad Gita, he spoke to another devotee. Who is that? Uddhava. But in that context, it was different. It wasn't the battlefield. And there he spoke from Gyan to Bhakti, higher. But here, Krishna is speaking more from karma to Bhakti. So you see that Krishna, the expert preacher, the expert giver of Vedic culture, Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna's question is renunciation of the world or Jnana Yoga, is it higher than Karma Yoga? He's confused about these 2 points. And he wants to know whether he can come to spiritual, he can attain perfection by this. Because the goal of spiritual life, usually when we join, the first time when we join, if we had to tell somebody you practice spiritual life for purification, they'll get put off. They'll say, hey, I don't want to be purified, because it sounds quite intense. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. And these are the techniques Krishna also uses to preach to Arjuna. Shanti marigacchati, must be peaceful. Durena hi avaram karmam. Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. He says, keep abominable things far away, be peaceful. We'll go over these verses just now. So Arjuna is hearing this peaceful, 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 and he's thinking, now you're saying to fight? Fighting is not a peaceful thing. So he's confused like this. This is his confusion, because he understands that Buddhi yoga means a practice, or Gyan means to practice like a meditative kind of practice. And what you're asking me to do, Krishna, is karma, which is to fight, and these things just don't go together. So that's his confusion. So Krishna is speaking 2 options here. One, Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you are not qualified to practice karma yoga, then Krishna says karma kanda and then rise up to karma yoga. So he says you do karma kanda then, fruitive activity. Therefore he gives so many options then. Krishna gives 4 options. We'll go to that just now. And out of that 4, he's intending Arjuna to choose one, which is the main one which he's intending. We'll see also. Right? So Krishna is saying, this is what I'm expected of Nishkam Karma Yoga. But Arjuna knows, he's heard about the heavenly planets. Krishna has said that if you fight as a Kshatriya, you'll reach the heavenly planets. Vikarma, bad, sinful reactions. You won't get any sinful reactions. So he's heard these 4 points. We'll go over them so it'll fit together. So, but the second point that Krishna makes is that do it as an example for the world. Krishna says, do it as an example. He says, why I'm asking you to do this, Arjuna? Because like we read in the purport to the second verse, Krishna is saying there, that do it for, Prabhupada is translated in the purport, he says, do it so that common people can follow. So that's what to set an example means, so common people can follow. Then Arjuna says, then will I still get liberation by this? Because if I'm doing karma yoga, there's no concept of liberation in that. Will I get it? If I'm doing karma and karma kanda, will I get liberation? Then Krishna clarifies. Then Krishna says, yes, karma yoga is, you'll still get liberation because karma yoga is higher than karma kanda. Karma kanda is not directly yoga. It's connected because it's following the Vedic process of ritual. But it's not directly connected to Bhagavan, to Krishna directly as a yoga. When you connect into Krishna, you're directly under his guidance. So it is different. And because it's that, you will get liberation. Don't worry. So he's telling Arjuna this. So you'll not be bound. So in the last part then, I'm just giving you like an overall so you get the idea of what we're talking about, right? So in the last part, Arjuna thinks that Krishna is saying that karma causes entanglement, therefore to give up karma, because he gets the idea, like Krishna summarizes to the end, about lust, how difficult it is to give this up and how entangling it is. So he's confused about this concept. So what we're going to do, we're going to analyze Arjuna's confusion here. So in this third chapter starts with Arjuna being confused and he asks 2 questions. First verse, second verse. If you think that knowledge is better than action, then why are you engaging me in this gory action? Gory, G-H-O-R-E, gore, sounds ghastly. Why are you engaging me in this action? So in the purport, Prabhupada also explains, because Arjuna's idea that I don't want to fight, better I go to a secluded place where I can be peaceful. And Arjuna's idea is renunciation, to give up. But Prabhupada very strongly advises and clarifies that don't try to give up and renounce and go to a secluded place artificially. Even if you're doing the Yuga Dharma, chanting, still, if you are not situated properly in chanting, it will cause problems. So Prabhupada brings it up in this one devotee who did this. I think he was the only person that Prabhupada gave Babaji initiation to. I can't get his name though, I couldn't find his name. So Prabhupada gave him Babaji initiation in Mayapur, and he said, Prabhupada, I want to just sit and chant. So Prabhupada, okay, allowed it. So he started to chant, he started to just absorb himself in the name and chant, and slowly after some time Prabhupada would find out, so how is this certain devotee doing? And the devotees reported that Prabhupada actually now he's building a little kutir because it's getting a little hot and thing. And Prabhupada says that's the start. That's the start of now. From kutir, then you're going to need. You remember the sadhu who was just studying Bhagavad Gita, and then the rat bit his cloth, and then he had to get a what is it? he had to get a wife. He had to get a cat, right, to take care of the rat, right. He had to get a cat, and he had to get a cat, he had to get a cow to give it milk. To take care of the cow, he needed a wife, and to get rid of the wife, next thing, you need everything is, he lost the whole focus of the Bhagavad Gita. Same thing here. So Prabhupada is stressing on this point. Vrindavan is very famous for this kind of thing, for devotees who Prabhupada warned against us in the first verse, this inertia. To skillfully avoid, Prabhupada said, skillfully avoid the purificatory process of Krishna consciousness. You try to hold back, inertia. So when we initially come to Krishna consciousness, the idea of purification is not there. We come because we want freedom from the anxiety and pressure of material life, and we get it. But the process is so powerful that it not only satisfies us at that moment with this point, but it's doing the internal cleansing, it's doing the internal work and going on. And a wonderful example of this, because many of us may say, well, I'm 10 years, 20 years in the movement and I don't see much going on, So Prabhupada gives the example of a seed, of a plant. When you plant the seed today, does the sapling come out tomorrow? And you put water, and you put soil, and you put so many things, you take care of it. For days on end, nothing comes out. Sometimes weeks on end, nothing comes out. There's a particular seed, I think it's the oak tree. The oak tree takes 3 years for a sapling to come out. Now imagine if you have an oak tree as a Bhakti Lata beach, and you're watering and doing everything, and 3 years and nothing is coming. You get frustrated. So our Bhakti Lata, externally it looks like nothing is happening, but internally the process is going on. So these are the good examples that is given there. So to chant in a secluded place, chanting is good, but satsanga, to sit satsanga, chanting amongst with devotees. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido, to be in the association of devotees, then this cultivation will come up. So Arjuna's dilemma then, that buddhi means renunciation and fighting means vikarma or negative action. So he's thinking, if I do this, better I take to buddhi, renounce. So that is his confusion. So Arjuna is seeing only two options, action and inaction. He's saying either I act or I fight, or I don't act and I renounce. He's only seeing it from that aspect. But Krishna is giving four options. We'll see that just now. So what we want to do quickly, everybody has Bhagavad Gitas, right? So we're going to go through these verses and find out, that big philosophical word, intercontextualize. We're going to see in the Gita where we can reference out what is Arjuna's problem, okay? So open your Gitas to chapter 2, text 38. We're going to start from there quickly. Okay, everybody has. Anybody can tell us what page it is? 38, verse number 38. Anybody has it? 121. Okay, everybody's there?
And there's another version with another version.
I think everybody has your version though. Most of them, right? Okay, if you just find 38 though, that's the verse.
Most have one.
Okay, alright, so let's start with the translation. Do thy fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so... You got it? Text number 38. You got it? Okay, let's go. Alright, I want you to follow with me so you can see exactly where this confusion is coming in. We're going to move in like doctors and try to find out diagnose his problem. Okay. Do thy fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. By so doing, you shall never incur sin. So Krishna is saying, do your duty here. Irrespective of what the situation is, do your duty. If you do your duty, there is no sin. So the last section, that's the point he's trying to bring out. So Arjuna heard this point. I should fight as to do my duty. Right? So that's the first point that's in his mind. Right? That fighting means to kill. And kill means to kill my family people. So it's just a duty-bound thing. And if I do that, what is the result of doing your duty? Heavenly planets. So heavenly planets is not liberation. So he starts thinking now from this point. Where is this going to go to from here? Okay? So and then towards the end of the second chapter, we heard in 70 and 71, we will deal this extensively. From the 54 to 72, the Stita Pragya Kabashasa, Samadhistasya Keshava, Stitadhi Kim Prabhaseta, Kim Asita Prajeta Kim. What is this 4 different ways that the person can stay in this world, not be disturbed? So we want to see 70 and 71. Okay? So chapter 2, text 70, 71. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace. So Arjuna says, yes, I want to be peaceful. Now just in the previous verse in 38, he says, do your duty and fight. Now he's saying, peace. So Arjuna, hey, hold on, there's something here. Little confusion here. You see where it's starting? Krishna is saying one thing, and just a few verses after, he's saying something else. Here he's saying peace now. And not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Your desire is for a kingdom, your desire is to attain this, become Rajan, king of this planet, and if not, if you die in the battle, you get the heavenly planet. That's your desire. But Arjuna, Krishna is saying that person won't be peaceful. Buddhi Yoga, one who is detaches, the Stita Pragya person, he is peaceful. So Arjuna is confused now. Let's see another one. 71. A person who gives up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desire. How does he live? Free from desire. He doesn't fight. He doesn't do anything. Free from desire. Who has given up all sense of proprietorship. I'm not a king, I'm not owning this land. And he's devoid of false ego. I am the king. He alone attains real peace. Now again Krishna is saying peace. Would you be confused also? Yes, if Krishna is speaking like this, I'll also be confused. What do you want me to do? So Krishna is, in both situations, he's using this word peace, shanti, shanti. But Krishna is not speaking of peace as way Arjuna is thinking of peace. Krishna is speaking peace of the heart. Arjuna is thinking peace of the mind. Arjuna is thinking my mind should be shanti. My mind should be peaceful. Krishna is speaking of internal peace. So Krishna used both words here, shanti and buddhi. And Arjuna is confused now. So Arjuna, okay. So, and then in 241, 41st verse. Vivasatmeka buddhi, famous verse. Eke kurunandana bahushaka hoyanantascha buddhiyor vivasayam. Again, buddhi, using your intelligence here. So he's saying one who is fixed. Vivasatmeka buddhi eke kurunandana. One who is fixed minded, he uses his intelligence, buddhi. So again buddhi comes, and again Arjuna is saying now it's 3-1 here. You said 1 fighting and 3 buddhi. So it seems like you're trying to tell me to be peaceful, be buddhi, which is what I want to do. I don't want to fight, which means go to the forest. It's perfect. See, inertia. But it's not what Krishna is saying. Okay? Alright. So Krishna in the 2nd chapter speaks, this is an important point. Krishna in the 2nd chapter speaks on 4 levels. What are those 4 levels? Arjuna is just analyzing on 1 level. But Krishna is speaking on 4 different levels here. Let's see how this works. Krishna is speaking on the Jnana Yoga level, to renounce. He's saying, buddhi, renounce the world, be peaceful. That's on 1 level. So, Jnana Yoga. 2nd level, he's speaking on is Nishkam Karma. He's saying, you do your work, act in according to what I'm telling you, and you'll attain liberation through that. So, fighting for liberation, for the goal of liberation. 2nd point. 3rd point, he's speaking about Karma Kanda. You'll attain the heavenly planets. Kshatriyas who die in battle go to the heavenly planets. So that's the 3rd level Krishna is speaking on. And the 4th level, Vikarma, sinful reaction. If you don't fight and do your duty, you get sinful reaction. As a Kshatriya, you have to fight. That's Vikarma. So Krishna is speaking 4 different levels. Jnana Yoga, Karma Kanda, Nishkam Karma Yoga, and Vikarma. 4 levels. This is Arjuna is hearing, but Krishna is actually only saying one thing. He's saying Nishkam Karma Yoga. Use your fight, but fight for me, because I'm telling you to do this. Because you're assisting me to establish Dharma. Okay? So that's the dilemma there. So from 39 to 72, that's the rest of the chapter. We don't have to follow now. Okay? 39 to 72, Krishna is explaining this point of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And he explains how this concept works. How to work and please Krishna by doing so. Okay, and then, one more here, 33, in the 33rd verse, okay? If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sin for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. This is that Vikarma point, okay? So Krishna is saying, I'm trying to establish Dharma. If you assist me, this becomes Nishkam Karma Yoga. So it's karma, it's Karma Yoga. Higher than that, it's Nishkam. It's you don't get any reaction from this, and it's connected to me because you're helping me to establish Dharma. And Arjuna is only thing that's on his mind, I have to kill my relatives. Therefore he's confused. Therefore he's in anxiety. Therefore he's worrying. The state of confusion is not independent. It has symptoms. And the symptoms of it is, one of it is worrying. Intense worry. Intense anxiety. Familiar to all of us? Yes, material life is full of this anxiety, worrying. So, and one more point, 249, I'll just read it to you. In 249, Krishna says this, Durena hi avanam karmam buddhi yoga dhananjaya. To keep abominable things far away. So he's thinking abominable things is to fight, to kill is abominable. Everybody agrees on that. So he's hearing that, he's interpreting it as keep it far away, therefore I should not fight. And then he says buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Buddhi yoga, oh okay, buddhi yoga means renounce. Okay, therefore I should not fight. So you can see, just as we quoted some references here, that how Krishna has spoken to Arjuna and why is he confused. He's actually, like we say, confused in the proper way. I would definitely be confused about this if Krishna had to speak like this. Okay? So let's see what's the solution then. So, those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. Alright. So Arjuna gets confused. Krishna is meaning karma kanda as to nishkam karma. Arjuna is hearing karma kanda. Krishna is implying Nishkam Karma Yoga. So as long as we have any material desire, this is the point of this whole section we did now. As long as we have any material desire, it makes us lose our peace, our restlessness. We become restless. Whereas spiritual desire increases our remembrance of Krishna. So the point is, whatever we have to act, we have no choice, we have to act. And if we're gonna act, then let's act in a way which is compatible with what Krishna wants. If we do that, it's not only going to purify us, it's also going to please Krishna, and it's the perfect situation to be in. Anything other than that means problem. It means anxiety, it means confusion, it means acting independent, it means exactly where we find ourselves many of the time. Okay? So Arjuna's dilemma is an internal one, right? And so he's trying to put this whole thing together. So let's just see practically then, right? Because in the practical world out there, we don't have the problem so much as understanding what to do, but we have difficulty in trying to come to terms with how to deal with anxiety and confusion. Yes? Yes. It's normal. How to deal with anxiety and confusion. And one of the practical things that, of course, the devotee will always do what? He'll always take shelter of Krishna. And how will he take shelter of Krishna? By chanting, by doing devotional service. But the mind still pokes at us, right? The mind still prods and says, hey, you remember that? You remember this? So what I would like to share here towards the last part now is a little guidance from some of these Western experts in this field of trying to deal with anxiety, and it sounded practical to me, so I think it's something that you can also benefit from. And let's see how this person would handle a situation where there is anxiety, and how we'll try to dovetail that concept in our practical life also. All right. So this guy is one of the experts in this anxiety and confusion situations and how to deal with this. So he's sharing some practical idea on this point, right? So let's see what he can offer us towards the end of this class.
So today we're going to talk about how to stop worrying. And we do a 3-step process that teaches you how to stop worrying. First though, let's talk about why it's so important to stop worrying. There's 2 major reasons. 1, worrying is a waste of your energy.
Worrying is waste of our energy, because it's not productive energy, it's negative energy. It's so difficult to keep positive mindset. So just worrying about it all the time, engaging in devotional service is healthy, chanting is healthy, but the mind still needs to be dealt with. So good advice, if you're worrying about it all the time, you're wasting energy. So it's not productive, it's destructive. So if you just see that, if I'm going to worry about this again and again and again and again and again, I'm just wasting my positive energy. Whatever I've got from my chanting, from my devotional service, from the devotee association, I'm just going to be wasting all of that. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to worry. I'm going to put it aside for now.
In everyday life, you have a certain number of things you can put your attention to. You have a certain amount of energy coming to you that you can then output to create your life. You have a certain amount of creative energy. And the way you can think about worrying is as if all your creative energy is in this sink, worrying is a little hole that energy twirls and flows and disappears, blah, 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 falls through, and your energy is gone.
Isn't it? It's so hard to keep that positive creative energy, just to be positive when it's difficult situations are happening. So if you worry, whatever little you've got from keeping yourself sane, you're going to lose all of that also. It just goes down that sink, like he's saying there, right? Helpful.
And it creates nothing on the other side.
What did you get from worrying? Nothing. It takes away your energy, right? So it's not productive in any way. So if you analyze like that, I'm losing whatever little I got. It's not worth it.
It's just a sinkhole. It's just a bottomless pit. It returns nothing. You throw your energy down the worry hole, and it never comes back. So, it's an energy drain. That's number one. The more worrying you're doing, the more you're just throwing energy down this drain that returns absolutely nothing into your life. Now, secondly, you get what you think about, you are what you think about, you are what you create, and your creation starts from within.
So interesting, your creation starts from within. So if you start taking shelter of Krishna internally, if you start from that point, the healing process of worrying starts within. Krishna, I have this problem, I have this difficulty. Like Arjuna did, please tell me decisively what to do. Share with me, guide me what to do. So take shelter of devotees, take shelter of the books, take shelter of the chanting. That's productive energy. Rather than worrying is destructive energy.
The more you're worrying, the more you're putting your attention to possible negative scenarios that aren't real yet.
See? It's not real yet. You're worrying, and usually the mind will give you 50 reasons why that's going to happen. It didn't happen yet. Or if it happened, what is the worst thing in it? Okay, this is this, and this. Okay, it's there. We're not hiding away from it. But it's not the end of the world. Right?
They aren't real yet. But they could be. If you put enough of your energy and enough of your attention to them, they most certainly will be. So you're doing two things when you're worrying. You're throwing away your energy, it's going straight down the drain, and you're also creating things that you don't want in your life. So
now, as if you don't have enough anxiety already to deal with the worry. So you're creating more, because not only have you got the problem, your mind creates more problems with it. Oh, what are they going to say? Oh, what is he going to say? Oh, what's going to happen here? Oh, what's going to happen there? 50 different other things start coming in, all destructive. None of that is going to get you out of your problem. Whereas, if you open the Bhagavatam, or if you take shelter of Prabhupada, or chanting, or reading something, you'll find instantly, I guarantee you, it happened so many times in my life, an answer will come out of the text like that. And you just feel it. Yeah, this is what Prabhupada is this is the answer I wanted. You'll see it. So instead of worrying, do something productive like that.
Stop worrying. But I understand that a lot of us have a worry program, right? And that's how you have to think about it. It's just a program that runs on your brain like a software on your computer.
So it just goes on in your mind, especially when you have nothing to do. Then it just runs like a program in your mind, software, So don't let it get that far, because then it really will disturb everything else that you're working so hard to maintain and create.
And now that you have this awareness, we can go in and play with this program and get rid of it.
So now that you're aware of this, how destructive it can be, now you don't let it get that far. When your mind starts going, hey, I know what this is going to lead to. I heard this in the Bhagavad Gita class. It's destructive. I'm not going that far. I'm going to take shelter of something creative, productive.
Well, not get rid of it, but tweak it so it serves you a little bit better, right? So let's take an awareness, let's take this process and apply it to our worrying. Here's what I do if I find myself worrying. First thing I do is I just zoom out from the problem. I zoom out and I look at something much bigger than it. Right, so I've got this little problem, this little tiny problem. Oh, my sales funnel is broken on a big launch and 1,000 people are trying to get access to a new awesome thing and it's broken and I didn't know about it and this person didn't do their job and blah blah blah. Oh, worrying. Oh, is it going to work? Oh, worry. Nope. Zoom out, right? Because I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to come back to it and take the proper action later on.
So zoom out means pull yourself out of the situation. You have a problem, yes, you're not denying the problem, but you're just saying, hey, hold on with this. Let me just zoom out. Zoom out means try to go into a bigger view of things and see what are problems, what are real problems in the world. and compare that to my problem here. Yes, I have a problem, but it's not the end of the world.
But first I zoom out. Zoom way out. Zoom way out and think about, I don't know, 1 billion people starving on our planet.
So he uses the example of saying, you know, how many of you felt hunger? You feel hunger every day. Did you feel hunger for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, for a week? There are people on this planet who haven't eaten for a week, 2 weeks. No food. Do you think that's a problem? That's real problem. And that's a problem of existence. What my problem doesn't affect my existence, it just affects my situation. These people have a problem that affects their existence. That's a big problem. So compared, why am I giving it that kind of a worry status when I have something, it's significant, but compared to that, it's insignificant.
Think about their problems. Just think about their life. Think about their existence. They are starving for food. Starving. Okay? It puts in perspective what the hell you're worrying about, and it also allows you to do what just the next thing I do is sending love to that problem.
Yeah. So his point there is to create positive spiritual energy. Like, okay, he probably doesn't have a spiritual base, but at least the idea is right, to have gratitude for what you got. Have gratitude for what Krishna has given me. When you have that kind of a mindset, then your problems don't become so. Then we have our idea of things like what our tradition teaches us, that it's Krishna's mercy. It's coming in a small dose. It's a token reaction. Then we can understand, we can appreciate things. So practically, if we zoom out and see the bigger problems of the world, compared to what my problem is, it's insignificant. So we'll just end on this one last point here. It's a little quote here, right? It says here, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind to that person. Everyone you meet, that means each and every one of us has an internal battle with our mind, with people that we meet socially, internally, externally, and we don't tell anybody about this. We try to carry on with life as if it's normal. So if you as a devotee have this mindset that everyone you meet or interact with is fighting an internal battle that I know nothing about. So if I'm just kind to this person to start with, wouldn't that help this person so much? So it's good positive thoughts to keep in mind, and it assists us with this concept. So taking out then, just in summary, we started on a scientific note about gravity and karma, on a subtle. Then we discussed the whole concept of karma in the Gita as a summary of this chapter. And then we brought in this practical aspect of worrying and how to practically analyze situations so that they don't overpower us, so that we completely finished over by them. So it becomes practical. The teachings of Gita become practical in our lives. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Anybody has any questions, anything? A little over time. Mic is here. Anybody? Yeah?
Grab the mic. Mic is ahead.
Okay, mic.
Mic is in front.
That's it here. Thank you. The mic.
You mentioned that, spoken, I believe, in the purport about we shouldn't just run away and chant in a secluded place. Also, Prabhupada states very clearly in some of the purports within Srimad Bhagavatam that we shouldn't go to Vrindavan just to do things like that and try to get perfect, and then when we're perfect, then we go preach. That kind of mentality.
Yes.
Yet we see this taking place within members of ISKCON. So I was wondering, am I missing something here within what Prabhupada's saying and what Krishna is teaching Arjuna here? Or when is it appropriate, when is it not, or is it never appropriate?
Yeah, very practical question. Thanks. So, the first idea is everybody should come to Vrindavan. But the condition is Prabhupada is given, if you're visiting, come for 3 days. Because in 3 days, you can restrain yourself from your normal life that you lead. Especially if those who are not following a spiritual path, then those things that you do, you can't stay away from tea, you can't stay away from coffee, you can't stay away from things that you usually take for 3 days. And then absorb the spiritual vibration of the place. And thereafter that, because thereafter that, you probably won't be able to maintain that artificially. So the point is artificial practice. Now you know yourself, and if you're not so sure about yourself, then you can check with your spiritual master. And usually spiritual master will guide in a precautionary way not to spend too much of time in Vrindavan, knowing you as a disciple, any devotee for that matter, knowing the devotee as a disciple. And if he knows you genuinely trying to cultivate bhakti, genuinely trying to absorb yourself in the Dham, then he'll encourage it. At the same time, we are doing many kind of preaching work here. At the same time, we're preaching to people coming in. There's devotees who are doing university programs. There's classes going on. This is a kind of preaching also, classes that we're having here, the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam classes. So these activities are going on, but it comes down to being honest with yourself. How much do I know myself that I can be in the Dham and benefit from it, rather than being here and offending here, offending the Dham, offending the devotees, because that's the thing that's going to get us kicked out of Vrindavan. The offenses, sin as well, but not as bad as offenses. And usually, if your activities are sinful, it will gradually lead to offenses, and it's the other way around also. These two things are precautionary. So, but yet at the same time, we need the benefit of the Dham to help us to lift for spiritual practice. So it comes down to being, understanding yourself as much as you do, and being honest with yourself as far as you can. And I know my limitations. I know how much I can do. I know how much my boundary of tolerance can be pushed. And there are many devotees that we met here who are honest also and say, listen, I just have to go away for 6 months, and I blame it on the weather, It's too hot in summer or something like that. And then they go away for 6 months and that's very honest, and it's very beneficial in that way, because when you know honestly, listen, I know I'm not going to be, if I'm here, my mind is there, because you are where your mind is. If you hear and you're not absorbing in the spiritual, in the sadhana, and your mind is somewhere else, then you're living where your mind is, although your body is present here. So what will be the benefit of that? It will become more offensive, or it will become practical, unfavorable to your practice. So it comes down to your individuality. How well do I know myself? And how much do I want to put, how much of energy do I want to put into actually connecting with Krishna again? So, but it's definitely needed. We definitely have to visit. So Prabhupada gives that precaution of 3 days. He says there's 3 types of Brajbasis that live here. There's those who are born here. There's those who come in from outside and come and stay here for extended period of time. And then those who come and actually live here for 3 days, they actually even fall into that category. So the safer one is to come for 3 days. If you feel, well, my practice is not strong enough. And in that 3 days, because you have 3 days, you put your full energy into it. So at the same time, we're not complete bhajananandis, we're ghostanandis. We do bhajan, we do chanting, we do sadhana, but we balance it with preaching as well. That Prabhupada has given us that kind of mood. And that was the mode of Lord Chaitanya also. That's the mode of our parampara line. So and that's healthy, because both ways you connected with Krishna. You're doing the topmost thing that pleases Krishna, like he says, the one who preaches is most dear to me. So you're doing the topmost thing that by preaching to your capacity, and at the same time your individual internal development is also going on. So both are very healthy for our spiritual practice. Is that okay? Anybody else? Anybody confused after today? Anybody has any anxieties, worries? What are you going to do when we worry? What are we going to do when we worry? Yes. Take shelter of Krishna. Zoom out. Look at the problem. It's not as big as I'm making it out to be. And yes, Prabhu. The mic on. Yeah.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Such a wonderful, caring presentation.
Hare Krishna.
And you always also remind of the deity worship, since you are so much into deity worship in Krishna Balaram temple. And here we see that books are also compared to the deities for Prabhupada said. You can give some insights to that, since you are so much into the seva of deity worship.
What is the question? I didn't get the
That
question.
books are also compared to deities,
Books are compared to deities.
like deities.
Yeah. So, how to appreciate books as deities also. Yes, so the deities is these Bhagavad Grantha. Bhagavat, there's two kinds of Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat. So both of them are teaching us about Krishna. One is teaching by the example and the other one is giving the information about Krishna. And both are needed for our spiritual practice. So just as you appreciate and value your spiritual master and other devotees, so equally we appreciate and value the knowledge that is coming, the bhakti knowledge that is coming in Bhagavatam and all the bhakti granthas, the books. So if we appreciate that the knowledge from these books are so powerful, Krishna is not different from Bhagavatam. So and same with Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya. So if we keep this mindset and try to read with this prayerful mood, that's why before every Bhakti Shastra there's a Mangala Charan. That Mangala Charan is a glorification or appreciation of the Bhagavat, devotee Bhagavat, before we get to the book. Because both of them, the devotee has actually given the book, they have written the book, they have compiled, they have accumulated the knowledge so that we can get it, and they're sharing it and guiding it with us. So both of them are equally Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So if the combination of the three is respected and honored, then bhakti will become very easy. Krishna will very easily show himself through the knowledge. But if we study and try to understand bhakti separate from the books, then on our own strength, then it's we going on a path which is untreaded. It's on our own. So appreciating the books, appreciating this point. And Prabhupada's books also, look at this, just look at behind me here. In languages I don't even know what's written on how to read some of these languages, and Prabhupada's books are presented in it. Can you imagine? Now take one more last point. Those books, like something in Chinese language, because we speaking and studying through English medium, we have the access of the full gamut of Prabhupada's books, everything, and we can understand it. What if you are in Swahili or Turkish language or some Chinese language where you only have Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita in your language? So you have human birth, you have access to knowledge, you have intelligence, you even have the books, but you are limited to it because of your language. So if you consider that how gifted I am, that I can understand through this medium that spiritual knowledge is being presented to me in this present time that I'm in this body, how gifted I am, so I should make full advantage of it. And Prabhupada set up to write it, right here in this room. The next room upstairs, Prabhupada sacrificed sleep Hmm? You ever slept 2 hours a night and feel what it's like the next day? Prabhupada would do it every night. Every night. Hmm? This is great sacrifice. So just for that, just as gratitude for that, we should read Prabhupada's books. Okay? Hare Krishna. Yes. Anybody else? Prabhu? Narendra Krishna Prabhu, something?
Questions?